So, you have this amazing statement, Jean, that you always say, which is an invitation to all of us to be the difference that makes the difference. And so, World Dream Day, the theme this year is Dream Together. And what I thought would be so beautiful and appropriate is for us to talk about how together we are the difference that makes the difference, and how can we really step into that collective intelligence and collective impact to be the change that we know is possible. And so that's what our conversation is going to be about today.
Good.
Hello and welcome to World Dream Day 2025. My name is Ozioma Egwuonwu, and I'm the founder of World Dream Day. And today I am joined by Dr. Jean Houston, someone who is my mentor, my dear friend, and someone who I've learned a great deal from, and who you will also be learning from during this session. Welcome, Jean.
Well, thank you so much. What an honor to be with you. And by the way, where are you now?
I'm currently in Lisbon, Portugal.
Every time I talk to you, it's another country and it's another creation, putting the worlds together that
Mm,
had forgotten each other for too long.
mm.
Would you say that that is what you do? You recover the original connections between people in your work.
I would definitely say, Jean, that that is definitely a core element of my work is the recovering, the uncovering, the coming together, which to me is also why I'm excited for us to have this conversation today. You
Me
know,
too.
the theme of this day is dream together. And you are someone who always invites us not only about dreaming together, but being the difference that makes the difference. And so the framing of this conversation between you and I is really about how together we are the difference that makes the difference. And just whatever insights that emerge through our conversation that really speak to how we can come to a greater degree of connection, overcome this fallacy of separation, and truly activate our higher potentials to make a difference during this transitional time.
Where do you see us emerging as we come together in the way
Mm,
that you present it? Really become the difference that makes the difference. I mean, not only is it an extraordinary advance for the human species to think and work and dream that way, but it is also potentially the next stage of human evolution.
mm.
I mean,
Indeed, it is.
lovely thoughts have been spoken for time immemorial, but very few people get inside the thought or let the thought
Mm,
of the transformation move in their mind, their soul, their life.
mm.
And you, my dear, are someone who has managed to do that. Explain that to me. How did you manage to be this muchness of possibility? What is your own background?
I'll 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 dance into this conversation with this because I really want it to be also about your perspectives. But when you ask that question to me, I what comes to my mind is always being in conversation with the times and often
Hmm.
asking, how can I serve? What is needed now? What are the times requesting of me? One example for that was during the pandemic when everything felt like it was falling away and people were so scared. And I too felt that similar fear. But I asked the times, what is needed now and how can I serve? And I began to bring together people from all over the world in conversations and being able to reinvent the future. And how can we really begin to tap into what is emerging within us, what is possible between us? And so I find that every time I come into, whether it's a community or working with a client or just within my own context, this consistent conversation with the times. And I think that my silent prayer within myself has often been, let me be a being of my time. Let me serve the times well. Let me show up in the ways that I'm called. And so that really is the way in which I approach being of service and connecting to the emergent energy that's required now.
Now, that is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Because one of the things that you're suggesting is that and doing is that there is a worldwide uniting.
Mm.
Had never been there before and really could not be there before. These are the times, and we are the people. From your extensive work all over the world, and extends also mine, it is a different world, it is a different time, and in spite of all the bad news that we get, it's opening times
Mm.
to a world agenda that makes the world work, because that is what we have been missing. The overall wonder of the time, the extraordinary opportunities for many kinds of people that have truly never been there before. What do you find unique in this time that gives us the opening to the great good news that is ours?
Wow, that is such a powerful question. What I find is that it's a closing as much as it is an opening. And we are in that in-between state, what many call that liminal state, that interregnum. And it is a time where we are invited to connect to our higher capacities, to connect to each other, to begin to experiment, to begin to practice, to begin to prepare, so that as this space of possibility opens even wider, we can step in from a vantage point of higher order potentials that we can truly activate, that were birthed in this time. Because many people feel very afraid and, in fact, confused, like, what is going on with our world? And if we allow ourselves to focus on that descending story, we forget about what you're speaking about right now, Jean, which is the birthing of a new narrative, the birthing of a new story that we are currently being prepared to be able to play powerful roles in and to co-create its birth.
All right, I'm going to give you a vision,
Mm.
and I would like you to continue it. All right?
Okay.
The vision is that the words that you've just spoken of the new birthing, the birthing of mind, of body, of spirit, and perhaps in some way of the earth herself. It is happening now in our midst. Describe it for me.
Mm.
Describe it. Go into people's homes, walk on the
Mm.
streets. Tell me what has changed, or better still, what is emerging in the incredible unfolding of what
Mm.
is truly a new age, a new time that itself activates incredible potentials that have been sitting there in our hearts, on our minds, waiting for us to wake up.
Mm.
And you're speaking of the Great Awakening. What does it look like? What does it feel
Mm.
like to you?
Mm. The Great Awakening is one in which we finally come to terms with the fact that we've been asleep, and now we awaken to something greater. We awaken to the higher dream. And in our homes and in our institutions and in our communities, we begin to actively engage the power and the potential of what is possible when we truly commit to a world that works for all. We begin to let go of the divisive energy, the divisive perspectives. We begin to rewhole ourselves. We begin to rewhole our communities. We uncover and co-create shared rituals that are rituals of remembering who we really are. We begin to realize that this time that we are currently in was only present to invite us into the development of true systems, systems that serve us all. Because we've seen the cost of divisiveness, we've seen the cost of polarization, and quite frankly, it's not any fun. And so what happens is we begin to enter into new configurations and new dynamics and new relational fields. We begin to connect to ourselves and each other from a completely different vantage point. And we also begin to look into the past as much as we are forward leaning. And we source the systems from indigenous practices and indigenous perspectives that have always served us in the past and can now serve us as we move into this brighter, more brilliant future. We enter into this era of, what many call the syntopia, the togetherness, realizing that it's not just about human forms, it's also about all of life. And we begin to honor Mother Earth, honor each other as wise, important beings, sentient beings that are deserving of respect, we're deserving of love and honor. And that is what guides us, and that is what leads the way.
Now, you have given a brilliant picture of the higher order of guidance. How can it happen? I mean, I've been teaching university, college, since I was really quite young. And I found that it took not necessarily a constant reminding to take us towards the higher order of a civilization that works for everyone. That's the big one, not just for wealthy people in the West. But the nature of the guidance itself is so exquisite. As you know, part of my work is human development in the light of social change, when so much is happening so fast. And my big question has always been, how can we settle you down and look at each other as God in hiding or goddess in hiding, as the great becoming of not simply a new age, but a new order of humanity that has been waiting on the edge of time for us to wake up and say, yes. What does the teaching, the school, the evocation of this wiser, deeper, more spirited and spiritual humanity, what does it look like? I'll challenge you. Give me examples of everyday life for everybody or the ordinary people in this time in which we join the higher story, in which we, as the poet says, redeem the time, redeem the unread vision of the higher dream. That's what I see is going on, the higher dream. Wherever you are in the higher dream, my friend, tell us something about it.
This higher dream is one in which it is ever present and it guides us. It is a force that allows us to solve conflicts in ways that we never thought we could, because we're always called back to this larger, emergent coherence that is available, and this seeking to come together and to remain together. And so anything that threatens that fracturing of the oneness that we truly are is let go of. And we return once again and again to that sense of wholeness. And so it looks like waking up in the morning and being called to that invitation to just pause and to breathe and to connect. Contemplation. It looks like systems of education and systems of work that do not tax us, but that feel regenerative, where we are working in alignment with our greater gifts. And each person's skills are able to be honed and developed to the height and contributed back to the larger story, to the larger community. And so we are working in this dynamic that looks very different in the world we have today, because it's really focused on getting to know what are the gifts that each one can bring forth. And those who have the abundance from maybe legacy systems are called to share with others. And so we have designed and co-created a system that truly works for all, where we actually are moving away from this idea of ownership. And as we let go of ownership and move into connection and stewardship, those divisive energies fall away, and we're really just making sure that every single one of us around the world are truly taken care of. Our resources are really minded in a responsible way. And we turn the tide of the calamity course that we seem to be on today. We're in a whole new reality and a whole new level of connection guided by the higher dream.
Redeem the time, redeem the unread vision of the higher dream. That's your life's work, is it not? It's your life's presence in this world and time. You, we, all of us listening, we've joined the new time that has leapt off from the no longer working old time with its old fears, its old pronouncements that no longer work. Describe to me, having lived in this new time which you in part have invented, give me daily life in the new time. Describe it.
Daily life in this new time is one that is centered in joy. It's centered in contribution. It's centered in connection. It's centered in affirming each other and affirming what's possible. We wake up in the morning to the feeling of possibility and a sense of greater possibilities. We go about our daily activities with that same awareness. We meet each other and greet each other as dear old friends, and even more than friends, as family. There is a seeing of one another. We don't just stay on our phones. In fact, we understand that every encounter is a sacred one. And so when we eat our meals, we don't focus on our phones or being elsewhere. We're fully present. When we create in a way where we are fully present. And so this daily life is marked by a sense of connection, a sense of presence, and a sense of contribution. And above all, a sense of being centered as one human, one more than human, one global family with all beings, with all of life.
Thank you. And I can hear in the back of my mind people who have tuned into this program also nodding and thinking and being. Thank you.
And thank you, Jean. And I want to throw that back to you. I want to invite you to share with us, what does daily life, knowing that you have these many years on this earth and you also have the power of seeing and the power of vision, what dream are you holding? What possibilities do you believe are emerging now and will emerge in the near future for us, that we are invited to be the difference that makes the difference?
I would create songs first about difference. There will always be the difference. There will always be the difference. There will always be the difference. So, what in the world shall we do? And that's my big question. What is the doing of that which evokes the world that works? We've all been thinking about it, but nobody's been doing too much about it, because we dance and sing and leap to the fun of what is going wrong, don't we? That's where so much of our spiritual, psychological, and ethical work and thought has gone. What does a world, let's go 100 years into the future, or is that too far? Should we say 50?
50 years, what do you imagine, Jane?
I'm still here, and so are you.
Mhm.
That's for starters. So we were considered elders, but elders is the place where we have so much opportunity
Mhm.
instead of less. Elders is also a place where everyone is seen in some way as God or goddess in hiding. And part of the work of the world is taking it from the game of hiding to the reality of higher becoming. The human capacity, which I've studied most of my life, has been touched on only in sufficient but not brilliant ways. What does a brilliant coming together, feeling together, living together, solving all the great dreams, regardless of our age or experience, together? This new order of togetherness opens the mind and the body to a level of learning and understanding and co-creation that up to now has been pushed in the corner. I want to see this great dream of the new becoming working. What are you doing every day? I'm talking now to everybody who's on this program. What are you doing every day in your life, however small, however strange, and even however large, to help co-create and activate the higher becoming, not just of our humanity, but as the world herself? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What new things must we experience? What new realities must we begin to live with? And this is a question to all of you.
I love that question. It's a very powerful, very potent question, because without that question and beginning to live into that question, that new birthing that we spoke about at the beginning of our conversation is not possible. We are in that interregnum. We are in that liminal space. We are harnessing and developing and beginning to activate our potentials. We're practicing. In fact, very often I've spoken about this notion of visionary future making. We are connecting in ways that we are participating in co-creating that desired future, those desired futures. And so every day that we awaken, we are invited into that exploration of what can I do today to support, to co-create that higher order possibility, to usher forth and usher in the higher dream that we all get to enjoy, that we all play a role in bringing forth.
There are a number of people in the room here. Whoever would like to raise their hand and bring forth a question or an answer to come forward.
This is Peggy Dean.
Hello, Peggy.
Hello, Ozioma. My question is, what is already at this time this year the scope of the World Dream Day? I know it grows every year, and what are we looking forward to that we can anticipate?
Such a great question. So, World Dream Day every year, I kind of tune into the frequency of what's needed now, and a theme emerges. And because there's been so much polarization and separation, this theme of dream together emerged. It is a global activation and celebration. It's almost like theater. And each speaker, each contributor, each event plays a role. But every year, World Dream Day continues to grow. And we're so grateful that luminaries like Dr. Jean Houston continues to share her wisdom, continues to support, continues to be in this co-creation process, and that the entire world really is in that, because that's what we need right now, is coming together, dreaming together, and moving towards the higher dream.
These are the times, and we are the people who are living in dynamic evolutionary times in which the hidden genius, the hidden possibilities of human beings is being called upon, and in each of your lives can awaken. These are the times, and we are the people.
Yes, we are. Happy World Dream Day. Happy World Dream Day.